Hello, today we'll be talking about interest. I'm Daniel Chen, and I will be talking through sections 1.1 in your Decathlon resource guide. So let's start off with simple interest. So simple interest is interest that is constantly applied on the original amount of money deposited. Thus, the following formula follows. The final amount equals P times 1 plus RT, where P is the original amount deposited, R is the interest rate, and T is the time that has passed. So one thing to note is the rate will typically come with a time frame, like per month or per week. If they do not typically specify a time frame, it's safe to assume that it is the time frame of per year. So let's look at an example. So if you borrowed $4,500 at a 2.5 simple interest rate per month, 5 years later, the amount owed would be, so we have our final amount equals P times 1 plus RT, that's our formula. And then we have our P equals 4,500. Our rate is 0.025, which is the decimal conversion of 2.5%. And we have our time is equal to 5 times 12, since there are 12 months per year. And this brings us to 60 months. Note that we have to convert it to months since the interest rate is per month. So plugging all these in, we get 4,500 times 1 plus 0.025 times 60, and this brings us to 11,250. Looking at compound interest describes the type of interest where the amount the interest is calculated on increases as interest builds up. So, for example, if we have $1,000 originally, and then we have a 5% interest per year, we have this kind of progression. We go from 1,000 to 1,050 to 1,102.5 and to 1,157.625. In contrast, simple interest will simply go from 1,000 to 1,050 to 1,100 to 1,150. As you can see, compound interest generally makes you a bit more money. Another feature of compound interest is that you can compound it in a certain period of time. For example, you can compound a yearly rate monthly to gain more money. In this case, the rate would be divided by 12, and the time would be converted to months, otherwise known as years times 12. So let's take a look at another example. So we have $1,000 original, a 5% yearly interest like before. So compounded monthly, we would see this kind of progression for 1 year. We would end up with $1,051.2 after 1 year. However, if we compound it yearly, we only get $1,050. So we can see that compounding over a shorter period of time yields us more money. So with all the background info down, here's the formula for compound interest. The A, which is the final amount, is equal to P, the principal, times 1 plus R over N to the power of T times N, where N is the number of times that is compounded from the time frame. So 12 months in a year, so N is equal to 12. Note that APR stands for annual percentage rate, meaning that it is yearly. Let's take a look at an example. How much would be in your bank account today if you had deposited $2,500 into a bank account 10 years ago with an 8% APR and compounded it quarterly? So, once again, we have our formula, A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the T to the N. So, our principal is $2,500, our rate is 8%, otherwise known as 0.08, our time is 10 years, and our N is 4. Quarterly means that the year is divided into 4, so N is equal to 4. So, plugging all these in, we get A equals 2,500 times 1 plus 0.08 over 4 to the power of 10 times 4, which simplifies into $5,520.1. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.